Welcome to Secure Management Faculties, where your mind is key before you unlock with a scene. Secure Agent Dreyfuse. Oh, thank you and appreciate everybody for coming in as a regular standard. Again, below, sell your guns tab, send off your firearm, make that extra currency a free default for the channel. We'll be talking about work-life atmosphere, right? And what I mean by work-life atmosphere, we're talking about the relationship between your position, work, and the conditions that how something is reflective or made to function in your work atmosphere, and something that you may be complaining about you shouldn't be. Now let's talk about it. Okay, work, whatever it is, even your playing atmosphere, right, where you host play or you do your recreational activities, it doesn't matter. All has a standing atmosphere that it exists in, right? And that comes with the etiquette, the rules, and all these things that just sort of was born into effect or chosen to be into effect. At the end of the day, what you want to understand is that your position, depending on why you're there in that position or why you're there, makes you either a effective chosen um, person, or a person that was chosen as in you making the choice to be there off your own merit, off your own work, off your own path, or you're simply a byproduct of that path or that atmosphere rather. And a lot of complaints or non-complaints or acceptance of the atmosphere is what can control or what can make you effective into being what you would want to be and what you would not want to be. And how does this tie in self-defense? Simply put, just a concrete and solidified video, you don't want to be a byproduct in self-defense. You want to be a chosen in self-defense. You want to articulate the reason why you chose yourself, and you also want to be in the living atmosphere of that. Not just riding the wave of being in it because you're a byproduct of being selected in that work life atmosphere. Too many people make this mistake, and it's not going to change. And it becomes very evident when, how can I say, people fall into things, right? There's so many people in the world in comparison to the created career paths that we have. A lot of people can just simply fall into it, whether they're already good at it because they grew up with it, or whether they simply was just around it when it was created in its inception. Now, this is not to disregard people for those simpler reasons, right? I've acknowledged it before: making money, good camaraderie, things of this nature. But we're talking about self-defense, right? Just because you grew up around guns and you shot guns and things of this nature, how tied are you, are how actually tied in to those guns are you, and the actual culture, etiquette, and effect of the atmosphere of what that means, that makes you more effective to through perception and the actions of implementing that. And not just riding off of the muscle memory of you been around guns and you simply shot them gives you a pass. It doesn't. So the whole point is self-defense situation, right? Let's make a quick scenario. The gas station robbery, you're there. Not saying that everything's going to go to the plan of the person that is chosen or the person that is there by byproduct. The fact is, the person that's there was there because it was a cultural, by byproduct I'm talking, was there because they were used to being there and they had this tool and they grew up with it. And then when the situational context came for the incepting, deepening of responses and or configuration of relationship of the tools and relationship with the situation itself, when it happens, what is it, or what is the actual onlooking inherent response and the quality of that response when the situation really happens? You don't want to be a byproduct of just being used to grabbing your gun out of your holster without taking the time to consider proper etiquette to expunge your weapon from the holster and even retracting it back to the holster. People have views on the retraction back into the holster, but that is your point to speaking to what you believe, but situational context is more privy to training for forward and reverse scenarios, not just because you're used to it or you grew up in that context and it wasn't a part of that context, a byproduct, because it doesn't matter. It only matters this way. Too many mistakes that I've observed considerably in a base negotiation of self-defense, that many people were slacking. And even if they won in that self-defense situation, they were slacking on the communication, the expunge or extraction out of the holster, and then the retreat back into the holster, if you will, things of that nature. Just because they grew up around guns, they felt that they didn't have the need to train in this aspect to develop that cultural communication of divulging that weapon and that equipment in that specific manner. So the point is to consolidate all this down is if you're doing any type of training, if you're doing any type of, um, um, matter of fact, existing in your work element, it will behoove you to be in a standing truth position to actually be involved to the capacity in your space that you can implement your actual training and active response. Because simply just sitting around in it and talking um, bravado, if you will, about the work, and when it comes time to actually respond to the work, and then those same applications that were claimed to be because you were the byproduct of, they are not what is to be, you will definitely see those results in full-fledged, even in the most simplest tasks. All right, secure management faculties where your mind is key before you unlock with a scene. Security Dreyfuse again below as usual. You can click below, send your gun off on the Sell Your Guns tab. And again, just to reiterate about the topic about work-life atmosphere. It's about your position. It's about when you come to that place, when you come to doing whatever it is that you're doing, even in your fun time, right? You're atmospherically, in a sense, dedicated to the truth of what it means to be developed in that, and not just seeping the edges to try to truck along and put little pieces of additive support and just be the after effect of that environment that's produced, but actually be the effect of that environment that's being produced. Again, Secure Agent Dreyfus, appreciate all the observe. See you on the next upload.